I, Neha Dhadda, coordinator of FICCI Ladies Organization, would like to extend a warm welcome to all. Please put your hands together for the gorgeous Miss Pooja Makhija and charismatic Miss Gul Panag. Both have the mantras of being fit inside out. Moving on now, I request Miss Neeta Bhuchra, founder chairperson, Flow Jaipur and first national president, Flow from Rajasthan, to welcome Miss Makhija. And Miss Minal Jain, chairperson, to welcome Miss Gul Panag. Thank you. Now I request our chairperson, Ms. Minal Jain, to give the opening remarks.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Health is the greatest of all possessions. A pale cobbler is better than a sick friend, sick king. Friends, I welcome you all for this session on health and nutrition titled Eat Till Eat, a subject we consciously address up to times a day, all throughout our healthy lifespan. And yet, very few of us can figure out answers which suit our body type. A subject as elusive as the perfect diet leading to a perfect body shape, a specialty field which has probably the maximum number of myths and theories being busted every now and then. It's an honor to have with us one of India's leading authority on nutrition, Ms. Pooja Makhija. We also have amongst us a versatile actor, a multi-dimensional personality, Ms. Gul Panag. Pooja and Gul, thank you for coming. I also welcome National Past President Flow, Ms. Neeta Bhuchra, past chairpersons, members of the board, executive committee. I'm sure today is going to be a calorific experience for all of us. Friends, I would like to make an announcement. We will soon be starting B2B sessions where members of the same industry, professions can meet up, share ideas, and create mutually beneficial business associations. Kindly register after you receive the mails detailing the schedule of these events with specific industry type. We will attempt to have specific subject experts assisting the participating members in these meetings. Back to the topic. Believe me, the toughest part of a diet program is not watching what you eat, but it's watching what other people eat. Let's make our today so awesome that yesterday gets jealous. I request Pooja and Gul to take it forward with their groundbreaking insights.
Ladies, first and foremost, on behalf of Air India and the Jaipur airport, which was facing runway closure till 3:30, I profusely offer both Pooja and my apologies for keeping you waiting. We've managed to get ready in about 20 minutes, which is a record of its sorts for women. And once again, my sincerest apologies for keeping you all waiting. So to take forward what ma'am just said, that Meenal just said, was that watching others is an interesting activity in its own kind. And today, in fact, this is the first time in my 10-year association with Pooja, I've actually watched her eat. So when we were on the flight, I was like, what does Pooja eat? And here's the interesting thing. She walks the talk. So it's not that she will recommend a certain kind of eating approach and follow a different one herself. And which is what makes her an authentic advocate of nutrition. I personally don't like the word dietitian because when you refer to someone as educated, as qualified as her in this field, as a dietitian, you're actually belittling her. Because food is nutrition, and we often forget that and seem to think it's entertainment or pastime or something to be had, just something to make us feel good. The primary role of food in our life is nutrition. What are your thoughts, Pooja?
Doesn't she speak so beautifully? She echoed everything I wanted to say about the same statement that Meenal made. It was like telepathy waves, and she just spoke it all. Yes, everyone very often starts this relationship with food which kind of disconnects the real reason why we eat food. We don't eat food because I'm a nutritionist and you are maybe not. We eat food because if you don't eat food, you're going to die. So if you're going to eat the right food at the right time, you're not going to need the wrong food at the wrong time. But most of us don't think of food as fuel, don't think of food as nutrition. We think of it as calories. We're so scared that food is going to make us put on weight, give us mama's arms and papa's tummy. We all feel that food is going to somehow distort the way I look and feel. That's why we have so many new diets and fads and trends that pick up fuel just by a whisper. If I were to tell one of you, take your new iPhone 7 and put it into the microwave for 10 seconds, and you will not need to charge it for 10 days, how many of you would actually try? Not a single one. I paid big bucks for it. I'm not going to try something that someone said on Instagram or on a blog saying it works. But how many of you would, if I told you I can make you lose 7 kilos in 7 days if you just eat this? So many. So many. We all want a quick fix. We all want, and we're so willing to try and take risks with our body. What we don't realize is, if we have health, we have wealth, and I can buy 100 iPhones. But even if I have all the iPhones and all the wealth, but no health, because I abused my body with every fad and every passing trend, then what am I going to achieve? But we are so willing to take risks and do deadly diets called cotton ball diet. Has anyone heard that? Cotton ball? Yeah. So you literally eat the cotton, which comes off cotton fields, because it's a plant. And you eat that and it bloats up in your tummy and takes a good amount of space. It keeps you so full, and it's so much of cellulose and difficult to digest fiber that it takes you days, and for days you're not hungry, so you beautifully lose weight. Okay? Then I came across another one called the tapeworm diet. Eat the tapeworm. So the tapeworm sits in your tummy, and then you eat chocolates and pastries and burgers, and it's all eaten by the tapeworm happily, and no calories put on by you, just the tapeworm. And there are testimonies, and there are websites, and there are before-after images, and so many people pledging and saying, I've done it, and it works, and it's miraculous. So people are literally dying to lose weight. But the one thing that they're not holding or giving faith or having the faith in is their body and food. You eat the food, your body will digest it. And digestion is a calorie burning process. Just like jumping and dancing and singing is, or not singing, but aerobics is. Of course, even singing does. But digestion burns calories. Let me give you a very simple example. An apple has about 90 calories. But to digest it, my body invests 120 calories. So where do I get that surplus 30? From my fat stores. So because I ate that apple, my body expended a 30 deficit calories from my fat reserves to digest that apple. So that's how eating makes you lose weight. And if you eat right, your body will be able to delete it.
So I'm going to come in here for a second. Of course, Pooja and I have had this long relationship where I ask hundreds of questions and she satisfies me with a logical answer every single time. So, I had a very interesting experience. I'm 38 and I was at flying school. Most of you may have read that I became a pilot some months back. And normally flying school will see young kids learning how to fly because those are people who are pursuing it for a career. I, of course, went to flying school to learn how to fly because it was a hobby for me and I wanted to tick it off as a bucket list item. So these 20, 21-year-old girls asked me two questions which were really interesting. First one was, how do you maintain yourself? Second question, which often I get asked usually in the locker room of the gym, is how do you maintain yourself after marriage? So, and this is something that I learned from Pooja and that I'm going to ask her to elaborate on. My simple answer to these girls at flying school was, you know what fuel goes into this aircraft? They said yes, it's air turbine fuel, which is the ATF, is a term we must have read in the newspapers. And then I said, would you put 100 LL in it? It's a different category of fuel. So 100 LL, ATF, MOGAS, AVGAS are the various kinds of fuels that aircrafts take. They said, no. I said, why not? They said, because the engine is supposed to only run on ATF. I said, okay, fine. What's the capacity of the fuel tanks? 70, 140 liters. I said, okay. So what will happen if you put more fuel in the fuel tanks? And these are girls who are science background girls, which is why I spoke in that language. So I said, what will happen if you put more fuel than what's the capacity of the fuel tank? Smile. So my answer simply illustrated, which Pooja will now expand on. The body needs fuel, and that's why we eat food, which is primarily nutrition. Being aware of what the capacity of your fuel tank is, which is unique for all of us. And Pooja will, of course, elaborate on it as a professional with the background that she has. But this is what works for me. I'm acutely aware of the capacity of my fuel tank, not the capacity of my mouth or my tongue to taste and enjoy food, which is also fine. Now, one is, so I told these girls the type of fuel. So they immediately said, नहीं, जहाज में हम ATF के बिना कोई fuel नहीं डाल सकते, क्योंकि exam दिया है, उसमें पढ़ा है कि ATF जा सकता है सिर्फ. But in the body, Pooja will elaborate. Second, and this is the last one, I'm sorry, this is like really the last question. You know, I see, like, I often go running in my building compound, and this is actually, it's going to be a short answer because it actually reaffirms the point we earlier made. So my building has a lot of kids. 8 out of 10 are grossly overweight. And I see them, they can't even run after a ball. So at what point does the child love of feeding them turn into a condition where you're actually putting a child at risk for a host of conditions, health conditions? I mean, I don't even know what to say to their parents, but then I see their parents and they're also so overweight. So I feel so bad, and you know, so I can run anywhere. I can go round and round and round and round. I can run for an hour in my building compound. I can go for long runs, but sometimes to save time and it's dirty outside, I'll run in the compound. They try and start, particularly the boys, they'll say, Auntie, we'll run with you. And they can't run for more than 300 meters because and you know, it breaks my heart because they've been, I don't know how, answer that question. It's really heartbreaking.
Yes, it is heartbreaking, and I see many of them in my clinic. And they come with parents, and the parents are like, ये कुछ नहीं खाता है, सिर्फ आलू खाता है, उसको सब्जी बिल्कुल अच्छी नहीं लगती, मैं करूँ तो क्या करूँ? So my heart breaks for the child, but my anger is for the parent, because उसको सिर्फ आलू अच्छा लगता है is because आपने उसको as a child जब वो खाना नहीं खाता था फटाफट आलू दे दिया. So what we sometimes as mothers lose focus on is बच्चे का पेट भरा होना चाहिए. So fill the tummy with food. Forget what food you made him eat. So as long as the बच्चा ate. चलो दाल रोटी सब्जी नहीं खाया तो पराठे बना देते हैं. At least बच्चे ने खाया. The value here is the quality of the fuel, not the quantity that you feed. Then the child's palate adjusts to that. So we have, in my book, I have given you how is it that you introduce food to your child from birth till age 15. How do you wean off breastfeeding? What are the foods you introduce so that the child gets a wider palate? First, do you introduce sweet? First, do you introduce savory? When to introduce salt? How to take care of toddlers and fussy children and बच्चे जो कम खाना खाते हैं? How to make them eat the vegetables at age 1 and 2? So that at age 10, he is not an overweight child because you did not make the effort at 1 and 2. How do you make food and give it in fancy ways? What are the different tiffin ideas? What can you pack for a 15-day cyclic menu so बच्चा भी बोर ना हो और आपने variety के form में सारा nutrition pack कर दिया? What do you do with adolescent children? Because There's so much research that is showing that the rate of puberty that children are hitting today is far earlier, far earlier. At even 8 years of age, girls are hitting puberty, which is only because of the excess fat they're carrying. So if you're hitting puberty earlier, you will hit menopause earlier, so you will get other hormonal related issues earlier. That's because of the excess fat. Hormones are fat-based molecules. जितना body में fat होगा, उतना आपकी body hormonal turmoil से go through करेगी. So how is it that you take care of teenagers? How do you take care of pester power, influence of media and marketing and advertisements? All of that is part of the book so that as parents, we can learn the tricks and then pass it on to the children. So that's Eat Delete Junior.
Should we have the question answer round first and then release the poster? Yeah. Yeah. The committee can take it forward for the question answer.
We would now open the house for questions. Kindly raise your hand and committee, please pass on the mic.
Hi Gul, hi Pooja. It's been very fun and interesting, but I'm feeling hungry also. You're talking so much about food. But I would like to ask both of you.
You're not feeling hungry because we're talking about food, sweetheart. The last
You
meal you ate
attend-
is about at least 3 or
Maybe-
4 hours before.
No,
That's
maybe-
why you're hungry. Even I'm talking about food, but I'm not hungry.
No, maybe you're asking don't eat so much, so my brain is like fighting with me now. No, I actually want to ask both of you, how much do you really agree, since you were talking about addiction with sugar, how much do you agree with food when you're in depression? Like people find solace in food when they are depressed or probably things are not right. How easy is it for them to come out of it?
So I'm going to answer that first because as personal experience, she'll obviously give the professional opinion first. I think all of us, especially women, the hormones in our bodies will make us depressive, fatigued, snappy, and all kinds of things at certain days of the month. So I feel like I'm superwoman 22 days in the month, and 4 days I feel I'm overwhelmed. I feel like I'm in the deep end. I feel like I'm drowning, and I feel that I have to come up for air. But I know, I understand, I check the calendar, what day of the month, what time of the month is it? Okay, I said I'm going to get my period. It's my hormones. Now, I've identified the cause. Firstly, it's really, really important to understand we all have hormonal issues. How much are we going to surrender to them is what we have to be aware of. And in order to not be run over by the hormonal agenda, which is like a road roller, you have to be aware it's coming. So suddenly you start behaving irritable or depressive or cranky. It happens. I become like that. I mean, I just start crying for no reason. And then I check the calendar immediately. And of course, now we have so many apps that let us track our menstrual calendars. And the first foremost thing, and this is my non-professional opinion as somebody who gets there definitely 3 to 4 days in a month, is to first identify, why am I feeling this way? 9 times out of 10, it'll be because of a hormonal fluctuation because period is coming, right? Then how do I address it? Well, Pooja will probably give you highlights of certain foods to avoid before period is coming because that'll... So I read somewhere that coffee and maida and highly starchy vegetables, if you avoid highly starched thingies like maida and all that, sugar and maida combo, is avoidable because it adds to your bloating. And for me, I get depressed if I see myself bloated. Pooja knows that. So there are things that we can be aware of. So a week before the period, alter what you're consuming. So ideally, even caffeine isn't a good thing in the week coming up because caffeine, I read, makes you secrete chromium. Chromium is essential to balance estrogen levels. So anyway, that is all technical jargon. Firstly, identify why you're feeling like that. So you're not hit by a brick, you see the brick coming and you can duck. Secondly, the quickest fix. So food as a fix for depression is perhaps avoidable because it's spiral. What will happen is you'll have sugar or you'll have that, usually it's sugar. It'll make you feel happy and high because you get a sugar high. Then the crash will happen, then you'll eat more sugar and you'll feel worse. So what I do, and it works really well, I quickly put on my trainers, and I go outside the house. What I will do, I don't know. I just leave the house and take a change of scene, get some fresh air, maybe do half an hour walk, and I try and get my heart rate up. The moment I get my heart rate up with any activity and keep it up for longer than 20 minutes, I will have endorphins being released, and that will immediately mitigate all depressive thoughts, feelings you have, and also give you a 24-hour long period to tide over your depressive feeling, which otherwise we try to go to food for. So my quick fix is to always be aware of where I'm in my cycle. So I don't start beating myself, ki, why am I feeling like this? Am I a terrible person? I'm not a terrible person. 22 days in a month, I'm a fantastic person. But I have bad tendencies, which come out because of crazy hormones. So I identify them and I deal with them the moment I know it's happening. I also have a calendar alert about 10 days before period, like 7 days. Period is coming, be nice to people, watch what you're eating, because you forget the kind of lives we lead. I'm in and out of meetings. So every morning, period is coming. So you're like, oh, I shouldn't eat certain kinds of food. So that is Pooja's department, what to avoid, what to eat.
Okay.
It's true, it really helps. Try it. Period is coming. With smiley face.
Okay, so why when you're going to be getting your period, would you have this low or become this person that you don't want to be? Every time we are going to have a period, our uterine wall is shedding or breaking. I'm giving you the technical reason behind what she feels. So this uterine wall is breaking. Because the uterine wall is breaking, there is more wear and tear and repair, and there's more tissue breakdown, which needs more protein. Okay, now, it is clinically proven that a physiological deficiency of protein manifests as a sugar craving. So when I'm in my period, why do I crave more sugar? Is because that time is when my body is shedding that uterine, that tissue. So there's more
And remember, it's shedding 12 mm of endometrium.
and that, so first your body makes it. Now that's one aspect that I'd love to ask God, that why he thought that we will make a baby every month, I don't know. I wish he had thought of that a little more. He thought so beautifully and made this body. When I get a chance, I shall ask him that why every month did he think we will have to make a baby?
We like dogs twice a year, once in 9 months.
Yes.
Or cats.
Yeah, why every month? Anyways. So, what tends to happen is that your body builds it till ovulation. Then that has to shed it. Now, because of this breakdown, your body needs more protein. But for some reason, our mind manifests it as sugar, which is why most of us tend to eat that little extra meetha just when you're going to get your period or in your period, or mums will say, thoda meetha kha le beta,
Which
you'll
will make
feel
bloating
good.
worse.
And the more sugar you will eat, the more protein your body didn't get. So the more protein it will ask, but that will manifest as more sugar, more sugar, more sugar. And then that becomes that, because why are you sad and depressed and not a superwoman, is because you didn't give your body that protein that it needed
So
extra.
can we increase the protein requirement during
You
those
should.
days? By how
You
much?
Maybe 2 egg whites.
Okay,
My
okay,
answer
alright,
is usually
okay.
that.
Or dal.
Or
One
dal.
additional portion of dal
Or
or
dal.
chicken. Yeah.
So the idea here is that we give into food is because we don't know the reason. So see it coming, then attack it before it attacks you. So then you're the boss.
So in your reminder, monthly reminder, period is coming, eat more protein. So you know that you can set it up for 7 days, repeat every day in the morning at 9 o'clock. So you start the day and say period is coming, eat more protein, eat less maida and sugar. I'm going to do that. Today I will set it up. Today. Thank you. That was really beneficial. Sorry, we've hijacked the agenda again.
Can I?
Yes.
Yeah. So, of course, very, very interesting and informative, knowledgeable conversation, and you're extremely well, both of you. I just say that we were talking about the bringing up. For kids, you have suggested really, really good. But we talk about the ladies who are in 40s and 50s, suppose. Like we born in a Punjabi family. Doodh, dahi, makhan, lassi, sab. Ghee, parantha, everything. So from our childhood, we are eating all these things. And suddenly after 35, 40, we should start on only salads or something. So our body is used to all these things, digesting all these things. Why should we leave all these things? One, meetha bhi khate hain, sab kuch karte hain, everything. And then why should we change our food habits after means of certain age? Yes, we should reduce the quantity what we are eating since, our childhood, but why we change it?
So only Pooja can answer that question.
Why we should change it, darling, is because the amount of activity you had when you were a child or a teenager or under 35, that activity pattern was different. And your metabolic rate was different because your metabolic rate is affected by your age. Every decade slows down your metabolic rate by almost 3 to 8% depending on your body fat. So if your metabolic rate dropped, see, if my car, for example, it's new, gave me an average of X kilometers a
21
liter.
if it's an Alto, that's what they advertise.
Okay.
21 kilometers
So
per
if it
liter.
gave me 21 kilometers per liter when it is brand new, it's not going to give me the same when it is 10 years old. So even our body, as it grows older, its needs have to be adjusted. And that's where we go wrong. Bachpan mein kha liya ghee, I always ate ghee on my roti. But at that point in time, my expenditure was different and my metabolic rate was different. So if I don't change it, that's when I am hit with so many health problems and hormonal issues and pigmentation and knee pains because you did not adapt your body to your advancing age. And it's not only the 50s that I need to worry about. With every decade, you need to
35.
change.
So, adding on to your question, I read somewhere that if you eat and exercise the same from 35 to 36, you will still gain weight. So let me repeat that. If I'm eating healthy and exercising a correct amount, and in 35 years of age, that amount is allowing me to maintain my weight. So let's say I'm eating X and exercising Y amount, and I'm remaining level. By the time I'm 36, with that same permutation combination, unless I change something, I will gain weight because of metabolic slowdown.
But that is what we have to understand. It's maths. It's simple maths. But what we tend to not do is feel कि when my body could do it, then अब क्यों नहीं?
Correct.
But अब होता है. और अगर आप वो accept कर लो और अपने life, and my dear, you don't need to switch from parauthi to salads. I'm not saying that's the switch. What you need to do is, okay, if I had a parauthi almost every day when I was 20, now I'll have it once or twice a week, and most often I'll have the roti.
I have to interrupt. The best thing I like about Pooja's program and the kind of food holistic approach she advocates, it's meant for our Indian diet. Sorry, I know you're standing, ma'am. So it's not that she asks you to have salads. In fact, when I'm traveling overseas, I'm like, Pooja, bahar mein kya khaun? Because in India, her approach is totally suited to the Indian palate. It's dal, sabzi, roti, poha, upma driven. It's not salads and lean meat driven. And that is what I think sets her apart from a lot of other people in her profession, that she's giving you options in your own diet, palate, in your own space. So she's not going to advocate salad by giving up pronti. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that, Pooja. Sorry.
Perfect, but she answered it right that we don't need to make a sudden swap from our plate to a different one. We just need to change the quantity of how we are making that khana as when we did when we were younger to now.
Yeah, hi.
Yes.
So I have another question which is on sugar. So you were just now telling us that for proteins we have a measure that if it's a 58 kg weight you need 58 grams. Is there a measure for sugar in a day?
Evil laugh.
In a day, so how much can we take and above it is harmful because some sugar
Brace
is required.
yourself for having your heart being broken right now.
She understands that. Okay, so is there a certain gram that I would say is safe zone? There is.
Medical requirement. One is safety, and what is the requirement of the body?
Added refined sugar that is safe to be had is 0.
0, 0, 0, 0,
Echo,
0,
echo,
0,
echo,
0.
echo.
Refined sugar, white sugar is poison. The sooner you all understand that, the better your skin is going to be, better everything is going to be. However,
Why? Let me give you the reason for breaking your heart. Everything you eat in your body is broken down and digested into sugar.
C6H12O6. Remember that molecule? C6O6,
Everything.
C6H12O6.
Everything, including the dal and the roti and the sabzi and the laddu and the peda and the vada pav and the fruits and the chicken, everything, end product of digestion is sugar. And sugar is the source of energy for the millions of cells in your body. So it doesn't need to come from sugar. Sugar is only going to add on to the calorie load which your body will store as fat. So why would you want to put sugar? So there is no safe zone, sweetheart. Just enjoy khana, and that is also sugar.
cane though.
Brown sugar, green sugar, demamra sugar, gur, honey, maltose, fructose, agave syrup. These are all ways to give you sugar, make you addicted, and for you to need people like me. They are all the same. They have the same calorie value, brown sugar, green sugar, or gur, or honey. No,
Pass on the mic.
no alternatives, because I don't believe in adding chemicals to your body with a sugar free. You have to swap your palate. Learn to get rid of that sugar in your tea coffee at least. Then you can enjoy a dessert occasionally, but don't do it in tea coffee.
Yeah, but just I think at the beginning of the
I
program.
think we take the last question.
Yeah. So you said that it's good to eat the sheera which is made by your grandmoms or whoever is making. So the sheera will contain the sugar. So then
You
how
could
do
use a
we-
fruit to make it sweet.
But it's also
So the
Indulgence
diets are
Day. I
cheap.
think it's
Yeah.
important to identify what's part of the daily diet as a quota. Like protein is 1 gram per kilo of body weight. But sugar in any form, and I don't need to sort of take Pooja's permission to say that, white sugar in any form is always an indulgence. Always. Whichever way you look at it. So you can ration it and say कि ठीक है भाई मेरी तो addiction है तो मैं दिन का, it's like cigarettes. No amount is good for you, but is 20 better than 1? I mean, I think 1 is definitely better than 20. So if you're smoking 20 cigarettes, 1 cigarette is better. But what is better than that is no cigarettes.
I have a question.
I think there's a lot of enthusiasm there. I don't know how time is running, but
Last question, please.
I have a question. I read somewhere that red wine is better than Coke. Is it true?
I wish it was, I would love for that to be true. I don't know.
Depends on how often you want to do it. Okay? Coke is, any aerated waters is not good for you, whether it is the diet version or it is, of course, the no added sugar versions are better than the sugar added versions, but all aerated waters are bad for you. If you are going to talk about one, see, there are two bads, you're just comparing one bad to one worse. So, yes.
20 cigarettes versus 1 cigarette.
Same thing ho gaya. So yes, but if I were to, aerated waters are shitty. So the lesser you do of it, the better. And alcohol has to be restricted depending upon your age, your weight, and your other health profile. Occasionally, socially, a glass, yes. But because wine is good, instead of 1 glass, I'll have the whole bottle. No.
Just one.
Last question.
Last question.
So I wanted to know how important it is to consume organic food, because everything around is organic, and especially we're more concerned about our children कि हम खाएं ना खाएं बच्चों को तो organic दे दें. You know, that's the current fad. So how does it really matter, the consumption?
Organic food is very good because we are not eating any chemicals or pesticides, which is today the underlying reason for increased rates of cancer. So eating organic food is marvelous, fabulous, and if you have access to it and it is genuine, please eat it. The idea here being the authenticity should be validated because you're paying maybe double or triple of what you would. So if you're sure that it is really organic and you can afford it and it is easily accessible to you on a daily basis, please enjoy it. But if you can't, then there are alternative ways of how you will choose foods which are okay to have even if they are not grown organically. So the thicker the skin of the vegetable, those are organic, they're considered as safe foods for even in an inorganic environment. But organic food is fabulous. But we should be, I wish there was an FDA approval food here so that we don't mind paying that double or triple, whether it's for the kids or for yourself, and it's genuinely organic.
Hi, I'm Khushbu. So I wanted to know what is the ideal food gap we should take care of? Like after lunch, how many hours should be the next meal? You know, the gap between two meals.
My belief is there has to be a 2-hour gap between, you should be feeding your body every 2 hours because that's how often you can eat to keep your metabolic rate high and keep your body in the gym. So I suggest you eat every 2 hours, and between two meals, it would be good if you have 1 or 2 fillers which are smaller in their calorific value. So between lunch and dinner, you do 1 fruit and then you do maybe a khakra and milk or a small sandwich, and then you do your dinner. So you must eat every 2 hours if you want to keep your body in the gym. So if you eat every 2 hours, your body is automatically burning. That's the idea.
That's it.
Hi, Pooja.
Kids, yes, it's fabulous for the kids
The
because
last
then,
question, please, now.
especially for children as well, because if they have low in sugar levels, then they'll become cranky, irritable, and they won't eat their khana. So please make your kids eat every 2 hours, and automatically they will not have temper tantrums, and they will listen to the food that you're giving them to eat. If their blood sugar levels are low because they haven't eaten for 4 hours, they are not going to want to eat the healthy khana, and as human tendency, they'll want to eat the high sugar, high fat, high salt food, which will happen to anyone who doesn't eat for very long periods. So if you want to get good motivation for yourself, I hear many people say, I don't have good willpower, I can't say no to the wrong food. You can earn and you can flex that muscle of motivation and willpower by fueling your body every 2 hours so that your blood sugar does not drop and you don't give in to wrong food.
Hi, Pooja.
Hi.
Since we've discussed so much about sugar intake, I wanted to ask that what supplement you would suggest with milk for kids and for women?
Okay, may I also suggest the lady who has stood up to also mention her questions, so Pooja can answer them both together. The lady in
Yes, Sunita, your question.
We had talked a lot about protein. So can you throw light more about the vegetarian sources? Because as you mentioned, dal, it has a lot of starch in it.
There's nothing to worry about starch, darling. Enjoy your dal.
And but if suppose I need 55 grams of protein a day, can you suggest some other sources?
You will be
Especially-
getting a little bit from your milk and soya and quinoa and milk products.
Yeah,
so
but
they will,
then it has a lot of fat again.
yes.
So for a vegetarian to strike that balance,
Yes, then the other added way that you can do it is there is a pea extract, matar pea. That is the only way that I would suggest that a vegetarian who is falling short of her requirement for the day supplements it. But pea protein, but
Yeah.
that comes with a note of caution to make sure that it is flushed out with a lot of water.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the pea protein can increase your uric acid levels, which is not very good. So you have to do a little bit of a balance, a juggle between sprouts
Yeah.
and dals, because when you sprout the pulse, the protein content is easier to break down by your body, so the bioavailability of the protein increases. So sprout your pulses. You could even use sprouted pulses to make rotis to add on to the protein intake.
yeah, but
basic-
I feel, what about the supplement like whey protein or...
I don't believe in anything that's not made in a kitchen. I believe my body is very natural and we should try to feed it as much as possible through natural means.
Will a vegetarian get her...
You can. You have to play around. Like I said, you have to play around a little bit, juggling between your pulses and your milk and milk products, and a little bit of help from soya. That's your one factor to get help from. Addressing your question, I'm sorry, I forgot what was. You mean artificial sweeteners? I don't believe in them at all. Added powders to children, again, like we said, teach them young. Milk is not something that you're going to give them every Diwali or every Raksha Bandhan. It is something that they're going to be drinking every day and maybe even twice a day. Teach them from the beginning to have it without any sugar. If you haven't done it today, make it a ground rule for the next 8 days. There's going to be nothing in your milk. It has to be white, pure milk. They will fight, they will resist. And eventually you will change their palate to be able to have milk without any added powders or sugar, because that is something that is adding empty calories and is also changing their palate to want more sugar in many foods. I would suggest that you try, even today, even if your kids are 10 years and above, it will be 1 week, 10 days, maybe even 20 days of a resistance, and then your kids will get used to it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Pooja Makhija and Ms. Gul Panak, for your insights. There are so many takeaways from your conversation. My belief is confirmed that food is our friend and not an enemy. May I now invite Ms. Neeta Buchra, Ms. Minal Jain, Ms. Pooja Makhija, and Ms. Gul Panak to release the poster for Skilling in Beauty, an initiative by Flow Pan India for the underprivileged girls. Please come forward, all of you. Okay.
All the sponsors who are given for this initiative, please join us on the stage. Reena Agarwal, Shweta,
Bhumika Lakhani, Kanak Meghraj, this initiative is headed by Senior Vice Chair Natasha Chaudia. So can we have her on the dais, please? And Treasurer Vandana Parnami. Request Ms. Sunita G. Dhadda of Divine Jewelers to present a memento to Ms. Pooja Makhija.